What's up, Yuma? I'm Johnny Porter.
And I'm Victor Calderon.
On today's program, we are going to be joined by an old friend of mine, David Lara. He happens to be the Yuma County Recorder. We're going to be discussing voter registration, public records, election services, government transparency, and his journey from being a local business owner. He owns a water company here, and he's also a school board member. Not only that, he is the first Hispanic ever elected to Yuma County Recorder. So stay with us for What's Up Yuma Radio, beginning right now on KOFA 94.7 FM.
And streaming online at borderradioaz.org and on the KOFA app. You can also view our show on the Border Radio Facebook page and the KAWC YouTube page. And don't forget, you can reach out to us by email at whatsup-yuma-radio@gmail.com.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by Citrine Law, LLC, a Yuma law firm practicing criminal defense, DUI defense, and personal injury law. Information is at citrinelaw.com.
Chili from Philly. Nick Papadorio from Yuma.
Johnny Show! What's up, Yuma? What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to another episode of What's Up Yuma Radio. I'm Johnny Porter.
And I'm Victor Calderon. And Johnny, I want to thank you for filling in yesterday with the crew. And, I was out on assignment.
Yep.
I was out at the U.S. Army Yuma Proving Ground for the change of command ceremony. So we had the outgoing commander, Colonel John Nelson. So every 3 years they get a new commander. Mm-hmm. So it's been 3 years since Colonel Nelson was there. And so the new commander is Colonel Charles Seabury. And so I'll have a story and interview, later for KWC on that. But that's where I was yesterday. So thank you to Nicole and Stephanie for being guest co-hosts with you yesterday. And we get to know a little bit more about Nicole. We've had her on before, of course, but she's always a great guest. And then also Burstrock and Mike.
Mike Castor. There we go, Castor.
I know it looks like Castro, but it's Castor.
Yeah, Castor. And I also want to make an announcement real quick. You're not crazy, and you didn't get hacked. Instagram and Facebook went down for a few hours this morning, so it was. Normally, I go to this thing called Down Detector, and it'll tell me if something went down, but then Down Detector wasn't coming up. So it was down too. So I don't know what was going on. I know a lot of them used some of the same servers, factories and stuff like that. So I don't know what happened, but it went down. Luckily, there's competition in the market. I went to X, formerly Twitter, and I went over there and I saw they were reporting that Facebook and Instagram went down for a while. Like you could see the pictures, you could see stuff when you scroll through Instagram.
Okay.
But you couldn't upload anything or send any messages or anything. So it was kind of deceiving on that end. But like Facebook was completely, you couldn't do anything.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I guess we'll find out later what happened. But it looks like I just checked. We are live on Facebook for us. So I guess we're doing good. And it looks like they got it back together.
Yeah. Yep. And so real quick, let's talk about a couple of things to catch up on since I was out yesterday. But the Knicks game.
Yeah, I know.
Saw that Knicks game. That was good.
I was bummed that you weren't here because I was like, I doubt Nicole watched it. Well, I know she didn't. I asked her.
Okay.
And so I wanted to talk about it because it was the greatest comeback in NBA Finals history.
Right.
Why do you think that they were able to come back?
I think San Antonio fell asleep. They were like, yeah, we're up 29, whatever, we'll coast. And they started jacking up 3-point shots. Like I stopped watching it because I don't like to see blowout games. They're not fun to watch. But I was checking my phone, like checking the score every now and then. And when the Knicks got to like within 4, I'm like, okay, this is getting interesting. So I put it back on.
Yeah, no, I think it was the Wu-Tang Clan.
There's that.
It must have been the performance. Something like I heard it was a great performance, and it really got everybody energized over there. And it's not often that Wu-Tang come together and performs together. I know It wasn't all of them, but something changed, and New York Knicks came out hot, and they were able to, make that history in the finals.
Yeah, they came back at the end. That shot at the end, that OG Anunoby tip in, that was like
crazy.
A great shot. They're going to be playing that for a while, and so the Knicks are up 3-1. Game 5 is tomorrow in San Antonio, and we'll see if they can close it out. Yeah,
I think they might be able to do that, man. They got the energy with them, so
yeah. So we'll have to see. So go
next. And then World Cup is tonight.
World Cup, yeah. So Mexico played yesterday. They won 2-0 over South Africa. People I know were watching it at local establishments. I was at Bodega 23 in Yuma. I know other places were showing it, like El Navegante or Best taquito, the best
Rolls and
taquito,
bowls.
rolls and bowls in San Luis.
Yeah, it seems like it's definitely a big deal. And you said when you went to Bodega 23, it was packed.
It was packed. I mean, that place is usually packed on weekends, like Friday, Saturday. Like they have a small parking lot, but for a new, lunchtime crowd, that was good for them. I don't think they're usually that busy on a Thursday
afternoon.
But it's great for local businesses. Support your local businesses. Go out, have a drink, have some food. The U.S. game is tonight at 6. U.S. is playing, I want to say Paraguay. But yeah, so U.S., Mexico, those are the big teams around here, of course, as we know.
Yeah, and I know it'll be on the TV tonight. We'll be at the Pint House, and they're going to be showing it. And I'll be interrupting every once in a while on the microphone, doing some raffles and stuff and giveaways.
Yeah.
But and with that, do you want to introduce our guest today, Victor?
Yeah, so we have the Yuma County Recorder, David Lara. Thank you for being here this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for the invite.
Yes, absolutely. So before we get into what you do as an elected official, we would like to get to know our guests. That's what we do here on this show. So are you originally from San Luis?
I was born in Calexico.
Calexico, okay.
California, which is a border community like San Luis.
Yeah, very similar, right?
Very, very similar, exactly. I grew up in Imperial Valley. I graduated from Imperial High School, 1984, and then I came to Arizona, to San Luis in 1986.
Okay, so before we go any further, what was it like growing up in Calexico?
What happened was I was very young when we moved to El Centro, and then from El Centro we moved to Imperial.
Okay.
So I just went to school in Calexico 1 or 2 years.
Oh, okay.
So, but I have family there, and we were there all the time, visiting family. So the Imperial Valley is just like Yuma County.
But pretty similar?
Very similar, very similar.
So what are some of the things you maybe you enjoyed or remembered growing up over there?
My God, that is a question that nobody has ever asked me because I was born in 1965. I already gave you my age. But back then, I'm a lot older than you guys, there was really not much to do in the Imperial Valley. You can imagine.
You have to be creative, though. Like, you must have done something. I don't know. You go on a bike and go take off.
Well, of course. And then it's a rural area, just like Yuma County. A lot of bike riding, go to the canals, swim in the canals.
See, I was waiting for that. That's what I want to know.
Go fishing and stuff like slingshots.
Yeah.
And I used to make my own slingshots.
Did you really? Your own ones? Oh, okay.
And then go rabbit hunting at night. And I guess that's what back then most kids did, play marbles.
Yeah.
No computers, of course.
Yeah, no, you got to get outside. You got to get creative, right? We were, like you said, you're a little bit older, but still, same thing with us. You got to get creative. You got to figure out what you're going to do. Marbles was a thing, going around on a bike, diving into a canal.
So you did the same. You did the same.
Absolutely. And now I can't even imagine any kid doing that now. I don't think anybody does that yet in a canal these days. Have you heard about it?
No, but it's pretty fun.
But it was fun.
It is very fun.
You ever do it, Victor?
No.
Oh, okay. You missed that.
I talk about it, but I didn't grow up near any canals in Northern California.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, that was something to do. So then when you were younger, did you have any aspirations for political office, any leanings?
No, and I'll tell you why. Growing up, I used to hate politics.
Hate it?
I used to hate it. My father was the one that would always tell me to get involved in politics, and I used to hate it. Never liked it. This is the furthest thing from my mind. I never thought I'd be an elected official, and look what happens.
So why did you hate it, though? And was it because of the pressure from your father?
No, I didn't like the politics because of what everybody sees, and this is everybody. And there's the hypocrisy, the two-faced, just what happens with an elected official. They say they're going to do something and they don't. And to me, it was, wow, these people are just full of it. And I want no part of it. And it just drew me further and further away until I arrived in San Luis. And then I was triggered. Yeah. Because if you don't like, and I still don't like politics, but how are you going to change something if you don't get involved?
Yeah.
You have to get involved to make the changes. And what's funny is my wife ran for city council back in 2000. And I was her campaign volunteer and worker. That's how I started.
That was your first.
That was so she got me involved.
Dipping your toe into politics. Okay. So when you were younger, what was it that you wanted to do?
What happened was back in the Imperial Valley, my parents had a recycling yard, scrap metal and used parts. So I thought I was going to do that forever. That was my plan. It was in El Centro, but then in San Luis, there was an opportunity, and there was a little motel that a friend of my dad had, and he offered it to him, and he bought it.
Your dad bought the motel?
My dad bought the motel, right. He bought it in the family business.
Yeah.
So that's how I end up this is 1986. So that's how I end up in San Luis. He says, all right. And it was very small, little motel. Back and so I was the maintenance guy, and I was just jack of all trades. But at that time in San Luis, the population was less than 1,500.
Whoa.
Less than 1,500.
I can't even imagine that.
Less than 1,500. I remember at that time, most of the streets were not paved. There was no sidewalks. There was no sewer. You had to run septic. And there was no trash service. You had to dispose of the trash yourself. And then eventually everything was improved. But that's how I arrived in San Luis in 1986.
So you arrive in there in 1986, an old little motel, right? Yes. So you're like you said, jack of all trades. If something goes wrong or whatever, somebody needs something, that you're the man.
Security guard.
If
there was a fight or there was something, because it was mostly rented out only in the wintertime. Back then in San Luis, right after the lettuce season, it was a ghost town. There was nothing. There was nothing. Now, I mean, it's just year round. It's really booming right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely get there. So you're doing that now. What made you stay? And how long were you at the hotel or motel working?
What happened was, because it was feast or famine, and the summertime was just dead. Then my parents and myself, we were always working together, always, the three of us. So we're thinking, we have to figure out something to do in the summertime because it was just dead. So we got to figure something out. And we started putting our ideas together, and then that's when we figured out that there were only a couple of vending machines, water vending machines. And then we thought, well, maybe we should set up a little water store and then see how it works. So we set up the little water store, and then it just took off from there.
To me, I definitely, like you said, and something, it's small community, but it has potential. I don't know if you recognize the potential at the time. However, in the summer, it gets hot.
Right.
So you're saying that's when the least amount of people are here. But you always need water in a place like this, right? So water is definitely going to, you don't want to get dehydrated. So you said, or your dad said, or collectively as a family said, we don't see enough of these stations where people can get water. Correct. Let's do it.
Correct. Now, and then back then, like I said, in the summertime, it was just San Luis was dead. It was strictly farm workers. So the season was over, everybody was gone. Imperial Valley is the same thing. So when we put that together, and because the family stayed back, parents would leave, but then the wife and kid would stay, and we noticed that even in the summertime, it was okay, and then gradually started growing. Then from San Luis, we opened up one in Yuma, which was on the corner of 8th Street and Avenue B.
Yeah, the one that's still there,
that's
right?
Still there.
It's still right there. Has the painting on the side of it, correct?
Exactly. So, and actually, I have to also say something about that little store. That was in 1997. I just recently rented it out to a longtime employee.
Oh, okay.
So my employees that I've been with a long time, I've been slowly giving them a piece of the action.
Wow.
So that they know the business, so I'm giving them a piece of it. When I got elected, I knew it was going to be a lot for me, and I asked my son to come down and help me from California. And he's here, so I am also shifting over responsibilities, and without him, I couldn't do it, and my wife, both of them.
Yeah, so then I just had a question, go back a little bit. So how do you start a water business? How does that even happen? Like, you got to make sure water is available, and you got to have like an RO system. How does that even?
What happened was, because my parents were still commuting back and forth from El Centro and Imperial, there was a little water store back in El Centro called Water Express. And I remember driving by it. So when we were talking about it, I stopped by and asked the gentleman, I was asking questions, general questions, and then he asked me why, and I explained we wanted to open up a water store, and he ended up selling us the water store and setting up in San Luis. I had no knowledge of water purification, zero. And then he sold it to us, and then he just disappeared. And then it was, how do I fix it?
Wow.
What do I do? What do I buy parts? So I went into a panic with my father, and I had to end up figuring it out.
Okay, so you're figuring that out. Your feet to the fire now because you have this. You got to maintain it. And then did you also? I know you moved to Yuma. Did you grow in San Luis, or is it just that one location and then you went to Yuma?
We were at San Luis, then Yuma, and then Welton.
Okay.
And then Welton. Let's see. We opened that up. I can't remember what year. We had the Welton store for about 7-8 years. And then a person came up and gave us a really nice offer that we couldn't refuse.
Oh yeah,
so we
good.
sold it to him. So right now we just do it's a water store in San Luis, and then the water store in Yuma, which now my ex-employee owns now, and then we do the water delivery, bulk and bottle.
Okay, so then you moved to Yuma, and then I got to ask, I've drawn a blank if I even knew the painting on the side of it. Who did that, and who's on there?
Okay, that painting was drawn by my daughter.
Your daughter. Okay.
My daughter. Okay, that's her thing. So she went to college, and that's her degree is art. And I asked her to draw the painting in the back. That's her style.
Okay,
that's her style. The painting on the west side of it, I told her.
The one that's facing Avenue B?
The one that's correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Now, that particular painting, I asked her, I want you I want a mural that reflects the history of Yuma County, the history and the culture of the community. And because it is so Hispanic, or 70%.
Yeah.
And I want you to portray something that explains about two role models, either good or bad. It's the people's choice. And then we'll let the community decide who did most. And what happened is Jose Maria Redondo, everybody knows about Jose Maria Redondo. He's the founder of Yuma County, you could say. But the other person is Ricardo Flores Magon. And he was a revolutionary when Mexico was going through the Mexican Revolution. But he was independent from the opposition to the government. He had his own revolution at the same time.
Interesting.
In the state of Baja California. And the Mexican government was after him. So he fled to the United States. And he had a newspaper, and he was at one time in L.A. and another time in Texas. So from the U.S. side, he was bashing the Mexican government. And he was very famous, very well known. And actually, in that time, in the Mexican Revolution, the state of Baja California was won because of him. But he was just a Marxist. He was off the wall. He was just off the wall. And he was then captured with a collaboration of the U.S. government. He was captured, and he was sent to prison here at the Territorial Prison.
Oh, so he was here in the prison.
Right. And then from here, he was sent to Leavenworth, where he died.
Okay, and that's why you said good or bad, just somebody, a historical figure that did something of significance here in Yuma County.
Exactly. I didn't want to say, this is the good one, this is the bad one.
Yeah.
I'm saying
You're just saying these two people.
Two people, and then you choose who you like and who you don't like.
I like that. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I always wondered. I drive by, forever.
And you what is it?
Yeah, what is the significance behind it? So I'm glad I was able to ask that question. And now, so that is also a store inside of there. I've never been in.
It's a little convenience store.
It is a little convenience store.
It's a little convenience store.
So what do you have in there?
Oh, just chips. Your sodas, chips, cookies, and your average snacks.
And you do good, even though, or like it's been able to stay open, even though your Circle K's and the Chevrons and everything's all around?
Before, where Walmart is at now, that used to be an RV park, and then it was vacated. And then when Walmart came in, everybody was always saying, well, Walmart is shutting down all these mom and pop shops. I was for Walmart because I believe that a mom and pop shop if you find your niche and you take care of your customers, they'll stay. Doesn't matter.
I believe it.
Doesn't matter who comes in. There's Walmart, and the only thing Walmart did is actually brought more people to the area.
Really?
So it didn't hurt me one bit.
Didn't hurt one bit. Wow, that's pretty impressive. And what is the name of that convenience store then?
It was Desert Water.
Okay, so just Desert Water. That's what it was.
That's
So
what-
okay, so
now
that's
it's
why I didn't.
Jackie's Corner Store is
Jackie's Corner Store. How long has it been Jackie's Corner Store now?
for less than a week.
Oh.
This just happened.
Oh, this is brand
Okay,
new,
we
like
have news
breaking
for
news.
Yeah,
Reporting.
breaking news. Exactly. It just happened.
Oh, very, very cool. So we're going to take a quick break. And on the other side of it, you said in 2000, that's how you got into politics. And then
Right.
we're going to see where you went from there.
Okay.
All right. We're going to do that right after this. You're listening to What's Up Yuma Radio right here at 94.7 KOFA Border Radio.
Why is music an important part of your life? For many of us, music lets us see the world from someone else's perspective. We can find community in hearing someone else's joy, sorrow, or hope expressed in song or melody. KOFA Border Radio is your local, non-commercial source for great music.
The Yuma County Library District invites readers of all ages to unearth a story during this year's summer reading program. Beginning May 30th, track your reading and enjoy entertaining and educational events at libraries across Yuma County through July 18th. Information and program details are available at yumalibrary.org.
You're tuned to 94.7 FM. Mostly cloudy in Yuma today, then gradually becoming sunny with the high near 107. Partly cloudy this evening with the low around 81. At 93, Moira Brown is perhaps the oldest of Scotland's Tartan army of soccer fans. She waited decades for Scotland to make the World Cup, and on June 13, she will be in Boston when Scotland's team plays against Haiti. To read more, visit kawc.org/NPR-news. Stay tuned to 94.7 FM, KOFA Border Radio.
I use KAWC almost on a daily basis in my car. It's the background for chores around my house. And I go to the website and look for stories that are of interest, and I listen to podcasts. I look to the news on NPR because I'm looking for something beyond the headline or a soundbite or a gotcha moment. I really want news that shows me sort of the multiple dimensions of a story, that seeks information from multiple sources and doesn't tell me how to think. It just presents the issues. And I really appreciate that. Being a sustaining member of a service like KAWC takes the mystery out of it for me. So I know that I am supporting every month. I also know that I don't have to remember to sit down and write a check at the end of the year or a budget for a check at the end of the year, right? It's kind of coming out of my account every month. And that makes me feel a little bit like I'm part of the team. I'm Lori Stoft from Arizona Western College, and I'm a proud supporter of KAWC Yuma.
WACOG provides family and community services to help low-income individuals in La Paz, Mojave, and Yuma counties, providing tools to help build a path to self-sufficiency. Services include housing and financial assistance, advocacy, and caregiver support. Details at wacog.com.
If you're tired of listening to long commercials before finally hearing music, look no further. We've got you covered. Whether you're searching on your radio, trying to find an app to play some tunes, or need background music playing on your computer while finishing up some work, KOFA Border Radio is your non-commercial place for music.
What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to What's Up Yuma Radio. We are here with David Lara, the Yuma County Recorder. And so we're at the point, I said, we're going to get to 2000. Your wife runs for city council in San Luis?
San Luis, correct.
So how did that go?
There was a recall. This was in 2000, actually. And she asked me for my opinion. And I said, well, sure, jump in. I'll help you. And she did. But then after she was probably a month into the campaign, she was not convinced the group that she joined, because it was a recall. I think it was 3 people being recalled at the time. And she mentioned that to me, and she said, I'm not comfortable there. I said, well, then pull away. Keep running. You're already set to go. Just keep running, and I'll help you, and just run it, as an independent candidate. And she did. She lost. But I got the bug after that.
Oh, wow.
I got the bug after that.
What was it? Tell me, the bug. Tell me a little bit about that. And I know, you used to call into the radio show all the time, my former radio show, and you would talk about South County, what it's like over there and the politics there.
Right.
And I didn't know much about it, right? I don't visit San Luis much, but what was it about that said, okay, either I got to do something about this or I can make a change? What is it?
One of the things that the Imperial Valley and Yuma County are very similar, like I just mentioned. Mm-hmm. The difference between Calexico and San Luis, there is one major difference. That Calexico has been a border community for such a long time that the mindset in Calexico was and is very different than San Luis, because San Luis was mostly people that came from Mexico, immigrated, but you had very few citizens. You had very few people that spoke English.
Okay.
So one of the things that I noticed in the campaign, being from California, you kind of think differently. And first thing that caught my attention was, I have 8 votes. Oh, I have 5 votes. I have 4. And I'm thinking, how can you're one person, 1 vote? How can you say you have? Well, what I started to realize is, as I started to ask, it was that one person would control their kids' votes or their neighbors' votes. Mm-hmm. And people were just handing over a ballot. They would sign it, and they would hand it over blank, and that person was filling it out. Mm. And that's how they could say, I control these many votes. And I thought, this is just wrong. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
That's what triggered me.
That's what triggered you.
That one bit. And I always said, if I lose fair and square, that's fine. I'll lick my wounds and I'll go away, and that's it. But it wasn't happening that way. It was not happening that way. So every election, I was running every 2 years. And sometimes in between there was a recall, so I had another one in there. I lost 12 elections in a row.
You've lost 12 elections
in a row.
You are resilient.
Well, I used to call in often, you remember.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I wanted to do back then was inform and educate the community about how to really vote. And that if you don't want to vote, you don't have to vote. And if you want to vote for one person, you don't have to vote for a full slate. And if you have a ballot, you can choose the elections that you want to vote for, and if you're not comfortable with the rest, you don't have to. And everybody was just taught or trained, you have to vote for a full slate. And this is our slate, and you're going to vote for these, no ands, ifs, or buts. Mm-hmm. And that's what I wanted to change. I would ask people, do you know who the candidates are? And most people said, no. I just hand over my ballot to so-and-so, mm-hmm. and they take care of it. Mm-hmm. And these people were very naive, but that was something else that just triggered me, because the community back then was and is so loyal, and you're talking about hardworking, honest people that were just being taken advantage of.
Gotcha.
And I would tell them, I don't care how you vote. You can vote for whoever you want as long as it's
just
your vote.
So you want them to be educated.
Right.
They would know maybe some of the policies about this individual.
And if you want to vote for XYZ, that's your choice. I'll respect it. That's fine. I don't care. Mm-hmm. That's your business. But just don't hand over a blank ballot. Mm-hmm. And especially don't trade for a blank ballot where you're offered a job or you're offered money or you're offered something. Mm-hmm. And that's how I got. That's what triggered me. That's what got me going.
So you mentioned losing 12 elections in a row. One thing, just in the course of conversation, mentioning off air that your store doesn't have a sign.
No.
You probably lost because you're a horrible marketer. To be honest, like I was saying off air when we were first doing the thing, you would provide the ice for our establishment over at El Dorado, and I could look you up online. I'm trying to find out information about your business. this, and like nothing's there, and now you're telling me there was no sign, and still
there
no
is
sign.
no sign.
Over at your establishment in San
Right.
Luis. So I'm thinking maybe this guy needs a good marketing guy to be able to do this. But no, eventually you did win an election, and we're definitely going to get to that here in a
Right.
little bit. But then you went to school board. Tell me about that.
2016, that was a 2016 election, and I was thinking about it for quite a while, probably a year, and then I decided to make the leap, and I submitted my paperwork to run for the high school board. When I first submitted my documentation, there was 3 seats up, and there were only 2 or 3 people that were running. I can't remember everybody that was running at that time. But as soon as I submitted my paperwork, all of a sudden there was a flood, and there were like 7 of us running. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I mean, I'm doomed again. Mm-hmm. But I stuck with it, and I guess when you lose so many times in a row, you become numb. You're not afraid because you think, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? I'll lose again, and so what? But something that I think is also very important that I mentioned with losing. Everybody thinks as losing as bad, and it's not. Because I remember this one person told me once, when you're actually in a campaign, even if you lose, you're learning.
Learning, yep.
You're learning, and then you're able to see what's happening, and then you're also a voice. Mm-hmm. And it's a way to get your message out.
Yeah.
And I did that. So in 2016, I won. Believe me, I was, you could have knocked me over with a feather. That was the first election that I won. And that was probably the first election that I spent the least amount of money. I didn't spend probably $100, $200. That was it.
That's it, huh?
That was it, and I won.
Wow.
Yeah. So being on the school board, what are some of the main issues you're facing today? What are like some highlights you want to mention for the community?
One of the things, and this is going back to when Johnny here was on 560, the bathroom issue, the boys and the girls bathroom, that was big. It still is big, but it kind of died off.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? It just died off. And I spearheaded that. I really gave it my best effort to put it on the agenda, to get a vote on it, and I was just stopped in my tracks. At that time, the only person backing me was Christy Craddock. The other board members, well, they had their reasons for not doing it. That's fine. You have to respect everybody's vote. It didn't work out. I tried after that again, and I just couldn't get the momentum. Mm-hmm. That's one. The other is right now probably what's the biggest issue, that when I'm invited as a recorder to speak somewhere, then I'm also asked, well, you're also a board member. Excuse me. What about the ESAs? The ESAs. And the ESAs were this is my take. Being on high school board and public education, the parents have the right to send their kids wherever they want to send them. It's their money. If they choose to homeschool, if they choose whatever they want to do with their kids, that's their business. It shouldn't be government telling them where to send them. But there is a difference, because there's the old traditional homeschooling where the parents don't get anything. They're homeschooling, but they don't get any money. Mm-hmm. Then you have the parents that do ESA, which they do receive money, which is about $7,800 from the state. And then you have public education, where the state gives the schools $5,800. So the playing field is not level. The ESA parents should get the same amount as a public school. Mm-hmm. That's one. The other is, excuse me, it's freezing in here. The other is that in education, the homeschooling, ESA parents, there is no way to gauge the level that the kids are at. In a public school, you get testing, and then you're an F student, you're a B, whatever you're at, and then you have your testing. And then you have that testing that's required to go to college. Mm-hmm. When you have homeschoolers or ESA, then it's whatever the parents say. My child is at a 4.0 or a 3.0 or wherever it's at. So there's no way to prove where they're at.
So those are some of the issues that you're dealing with or
Right.
presented to you. And okay, so now we're going to go to county recorder. Now, I know, I think the county recorder position has changed a little bit in Yuma, the county, right? I guess maybe some of the responsibilities
Right.
were different before you got elected.
Correct.
And I know, you were featured in a movie once upon a time, right? In a documentary.
Oh.
Voting is a big deal for you, right? And county recorder somewhat sees some of this of voting stuff, right? Like
Correct.
a portion of it.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about like what it used to be and then what it is now?
Very well. What happened was the elections department belongs to the county and the supervisors, and the recorder is a separate office.
Okay.
So you have the elections department and the recorder's office, and they were combined.
They were combined at one time. Okay.
So the board and the recorder decided to join them, and then the recorder took in the elections office department. So the recorder was running both. When I won the primary, and back then the odds looked like I was going to win the general, the supervisors decided to end the agreement between the recorder and the board. And that's where we're at now. So both offices have been split. Now the county and the board control the elections department, and I control the voter registration part, which is the voter rolls, the mail-in votes, early voting, and the drop boxes.
Okay. So we are going to get to, we have a list of some stuff that we're going to talk about. We're going to hold you for one more break, but I just want to know something before we go to the break. Now, I've interviewed politicians forever. Like,
Right.
I used to call all the time. And one thing I got to stress, or I've been very familiar with, it's one thing when you're on this side kind of barking or kind
Right.
of complaining about like, oh, this should be changed, or we need new leadership, or we need this, or why isn't this fixed? And then you get into that position and then you find out, oh, maybe that's why it's not fixed, right? And then you said earlier that your frustration with politicians, they say one thing and then they get into office and they do something different. Now, all of that maybe, or maybe I should put it this way, not all of that has to do with them changing their morals. It's them actually being in that position and seeing where they're handcuffed, where they can't do that.
Correct.
Now, I've laid that out. I want to know if any of that is ringing true to you, right? Is there anything that once you got into these positions and then you saw like, oh, okay.
And I'm glad you asked that question, because that is an excellent question. And this is what I've been trying to inform the community, that a candidate will go on the campaign trail and they talk about what they want to do and what they're going to do. Some of them, I have to say, have the best of intentions, and they don't know, especially the ones that are first timers. The people that are running for re-election, well, sometimes they could be a little deceiving. But this is what it comes down. It doesn't matter if it's city council, board of supervisors, whatever position you're running, school board, whatever it is. Whatever your plan is, you can't do it unless you have approval of the other board members, if it's on a school board or city council. So you can't say, I'm going to do this, this, and this, because if the rest of the people on that board or council don't agree with you, it's not going to happen. That's one. And the other is, there are laws that limit you what you can and can't legally do. And then you actually have a lot more power, you could say. You have a lot more influence not being elected than being elected. Because if you're just the average citizen, if you have like I used to do, you have your documentation, not an opinion. If you have your documentation where it says, well, it says right here, then you're actually holding that elected official to the fire. Then you're actually limiting that person to what they can and can't say, because you're proving it what their real statutory rights and powers are.
But then when you get into the other side, though, so tell me a little bit about somebody maybe you found out, like, wait a minute, this is different.
For instance, you have to work as a recorder. I have to work in collaboration with the Board of Supervisors and the Elections Department. And there has to be great communication and teamwork. And I actually believe, honestly, that we have achieved that. In the beginning, we didn't know each other, and I was new, and then the office was split. But I think that the recorder's office, myself, I built a great relationship with the Elections Department and the Board of Supervisors, where we discuss whatever we need to do. We talk about it like mature adults, and then we fine-tune things. We find a solution, we agree on it, and we move forward and we do it for the taxpayers and the voters.
For the people that put you in that office.
Correct.
You got to come together. You got to figure out maybe if there's difference of opinion. Obviously, there's the law there that kind of keeps you with a certain restraint. But at the end of the day, people put you there for a reason, and that's the end result.
Correct. You have to find a way to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to communicate that. And then there's horse trading. And then you come to an agreement, and then you do it.
Yeah.
And that's so. If the old late David Lara was the recorder back 20 years ago, forget it. I'd be screaming and hollering back then.
Yeah, and I think, and we're going to take a break now, but I think there probably was a little bit of that hesitation. It's like, oh no, what David are we going to get when we get them in office, right? It's like where it is. And like I said, I've been a fan of yours for so long. You've been calling and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, this guy really wants change. But then I've also seen politicians, once they get in, and they'd come back to me like, Johnny, I tried, like blah, 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 I want to do this, but life is life. But so thank you for answering that question. I really appreciate it. And with that, we are going to take a break. On the other side, we are going to talk, because we're in election season right now, right?
We are.
All right, we're going to talk about that right after this. You're listening to What's Up Yuma Radio right here on 94.7 KOFA Border Radio.
For over 55 years, Border Radio KOFA has been a voice for music and culture in the region. We play indie, soul, funk, world beats, and more, plus local stories and live sessions. Tune in live at 94.7 FM, on demand at borderradioaz.org, or on the KOFA app and discover your next favorite song.
What's Up Yuma Radio is sponsored by Citrine Law LLC, a locally owned Yuma law firm practicing criminal defense, DUI defense, and personal injury law throughout Yuma County and across Arizona. Citrine Law serves clients in English and Spanish. Information at citrinelaw.com. The Yuma County Library District provides activities and resources at its branches for people of all ages. Events include story time, citizenship classes, bilingual programs, crafts, author talks, and more. For more information about the activities and calendar of events, plus other in-person and online resources, visit yumalibrary.org.
I'm Mike Suba, and I'm a big supporter of KAWC. You're getting a great source of information about our community, about the people that are working and living here, and you start going, you know what, this is really a valued service. And that's the great thing, is you've got a partnership here. And I'm a big believer in partnerships, because the one thing I realized early on in life, I can maybe do a lot of stuff on a very limited basis, but when I start partnering up, it's amazing what we can do when we pool our resources. And so I hope that when people are listening to the station, enjoying the news broadcasts and the entertainment shows that are being presented, that they realize that you're not only the end user and enjoying what is being broadcast to you, but it can be a partnership too, where you can participate, like I've discovered I can do, and help get this service, enhance it, and provide even better programming. I'm Mike Suba, and I support KAWC.
Bopping to the new beats heard around the world, or relaxing to the tunes of Memory Lane. We are your non-commercial source of music. Run by volunteer hosts, this is KOFA Border Radio, 94.7 FM, 1320 AM, on the KOFA app, or at borderradioaz.org.
What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to What's Up, Yuma Radio. We are here talking to Yuma County Recorder David Lara. And like I said when we went to break, we are in election season. How do I know that? Because I see signs on every corner of every major stop here in Yuma. But I know, Victor, you have some questions. They wanted some information to get out about voter registration and stuff like that.
So we have several dates we want to let the public know about. But Mr. Lara, I wanted to ask you, talking about the 2024 election, you're running for recorder. Before the election, you spoke on stage at the Republican National Convention.
Yes, I did.
So people may have seen that, or if they want to see the video, they can find it online.
Yes.
I just want to ask you what the experience was like, because I can't recall, at least in recent memory, any Democrat or Republican from Yuma County going and speaking on stage at the National Convention. So what was the experience like for you?
Well, of course, it's mind-boggling, because when you get there, first they give you a tour and take you on stage, what it's going to look like with no people there, and where the mic is going to be, and it's a walkthrough. But then they sit you down and they tell you what to expect, what it's going to look like, and they asked me, "Have you ever been public speaking?" And I said, "Well, I've done a little." They said, "What's the biggest crowd you've talked to?" And I said, "Well, at the GOP state meeting, there was about 3,500 people." They said, "Okay, well, that's a nice group of people. So how many people do you expect are going to see me?" I said, "Well, you're going to probably be between 20 and 30 million worldwide." I said, "Gee, yeah, thanks. Thanks for putting on the pressure."
Yeah.
But actually, and I have to say this, and I've said it before and I'll say it again with the convention, that when you're there and you're in front of all the cameras and all the people, I mean, it's huge. It's huge. And there's a teleprompter. Well, the speech, I gave them my speech, but they changed. The message was the same, but the wording and phrases, they changed, which were not my. I like to speak the way I speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Papa, I am who I am. Well, they changed it. And as I'm reading the teleprompter, and I don't know if you can spot it, if you go back and look at and you can see I'm kind of like hesitating, because I'm looking at it and I'm saying, wait a second, this is not my...
Yeah, they're not your words.
This is not my words. Same message, but not my words. So then I'm modifying it on the spot.
Yeah.
So I'm to its original wording. Not their words. So, but that's, other than that, it was very fun.
I remember walking in somewhere and watching you do that live. I forget where I walked into. I walked in and then I was like, "Oh wow, I know him." And
Right.
I think I texted you afterwards and everything. But yeah, great experience though.
Oh my God, very very much, very much. Is mind blowing. It's a week, and it's a once in a lifetime. What's also interesting about that is, because I'm Hispanic, so I had a lot of the Spanish media interviewing me. So I had a big audience on that side. So I had all these interviews on the Spanish-speaking media every day, and it's an experience that I enjoyed, and I'm glad I did it.
So you won the election. You're the Yuma County Recorder. We want to talk in the time we have left before the bottom of the hour. We want to talk about some deadlines that are coming up. So first of all, let's talk about your location, because you moved. Everyone knows, you were on the corner there of Main Street.
Correct.
On one end by the theaters.
Yes.
But so where are you now located? Remind our listeners and viewers, please. Okay.
Right now we are at the old consulate building, which is right next to the Boys, the restaurant. That's where we're at. But for early voting, the 27 days for early voting, we're going to be at the old Board of Supervisors auditorium. That's where we're going to have the early voting.
Okay.
So it's very important that people, and there'll be signs. There'll be signs, which is just across the street from the new admin building.
Yeah. So we have an update. We have a deadline coming up. The last day to register to vote.
June 22nd, right?
Monday, June 22nd.
Right. Early voting will begin June 24th. Last day to request a ballot is July 10th, and election day is July 21st. Now, something I want to add, where it says early voting will begin June 24th. Everybody thinks that election day is election day.
Yeah.
It's not. This is election. June 24th is election day, because July 21st is actually the last day. For some reason, people think it's election day.
Yeah.
And you can go to the recorder's office where we have the early voting, and it's the same thing as if you show up on election day. It's in person. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, same thing. And I guess it was just the way we've been trained, right? Because this is what we're used to, just going in before you mail in ballots, stuff like this. You're just like, you have election day. It's election day, election day. But now, yes, the election day is the first day that it opens, right?
Exactly. And if people take advantage of it, there would be a lot of money saved for the county and the taxpayers, because there's a cost to that mail-in ballot. So if people were to actually go in person and vote, then we wouldn't send out the ballot, unless they request it, of course. People can change their mind. But it's a cost. It's a cost, and we could save that, which would go back to the taxpayers.
So in addition to the in-person voting, there's also these drop boxes.
Correct.
So let's talk about the drop boxes. Remind our listeners and viewers where those are located.
Okay. Well, first of all the libraries, because they've been there for quite some time. And then at the recorder's office, the old Board of Supervisors auditorium, and then in San Luis, we added last year the San Luis Medical Mall. So that's a new location in San Luis. So there's plenty of drop boxes. I urge people to use the drop boxes because every time the voter drops in their ballot, it's also saving the taxpayers, because we save money on the return postage.
Okay.
So a use of the drop boxes is saving the taxpayers money.
I didn't know that. That's some information to give out right here.
So please use the drop boxes to return your ballot, or go to the early voting location with the old Board of Supervisors auditorium and drop it off there.
So for the library locations, these are, just to remind our listeners and viewers, these are the drop box locations. The libraries in Yuma, Somerton, San Luis, Welton.
And Welton, correct.
And so
Foothills. So it's Welton, Foothills, Main Library, Yuma, Somerton, and San Luis.
And so you and I have talked. I want to bring in my news site. So you and I talked about when the Yuma County Board of Supervisors voted to put cameras on the ballot drop boxes. And you mentioned that you wanted to clear up some miscommunication or some misinformation about the cameras. Can you remind what that was?
And there were concerns by members of the community about those cameras. The first thing is that the libraries have always had cameras on those drop boxes. So it's nothing new. It's nothing new. The other thing is that those cameras are actually used in schools. So kids are already being videoed by the same manufacturer. And then the other is that these cameras are only zooming in to the drop box itself. It is not zooming into the building, the parking lot, license plates. And that is for, as we talked about, the security, the trust, the integrity, the transparency of the early ballot system to protect the voters and also the staff that retrieves the ballots.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Protect the voters, right? Because you want your vote to count. So you don't want somebody else cheating or doing anything nefarious, because your vote is going to get watered down if that happens.
Of course. Well, it's not just that. It's just that we don't want a voter to be intimidated by somebody else.
And then that's the other thing, that because I think when that first happened, people were also, it made them afraid to go, though, because they're going to be videotaped and they don't want to be harassed afterwards or something. And there was a lot of, like Victor said, miscommunication or just some fear out there.
Right. The libraries have always had the cameras. The only thing is now we're only videoing the exact drop box.
Okay.
So in reality now it's there's more privacy than there was
More
before.
privacy. Oh, okay.
So it's for the voter, it's better.
Yeah. So I have a note from your office that to remind Yuma County that in the 2024 primary election, only 20% of registered voters participated in the primary election. And through community outreach, your office, the Recorder's office, is hoping to increase that percentage. Tell us about that, please.
Well, 20% is a very low turnout. What I have to say, and hopefully what I'm going to say will spark some fear in a good way to the voters. A primary election, a general election, you're looking at about $400,000 in cost. That's what it costs. That's a lot. That's a lot of money for only 20% to participate in the primary. And that's a lot of money. So I've been trying, and everybody in the office, we've been trying to promote people go out and vote, register to vote. But mostly the independents, because that is the biggest voting bloc in Yuma County, actually nationwide and statewide. Independents are the ones who choose elections now. But independents sometimes don't know or they don't understand that in order to participate in the primary, they have to choose the party they want to vote in the primary. So they get a notice to choose if they want to vote in it's actually 3, which is no labels, Republican or Democrat. And they will receive that ballot of their choice. So it's very important. And I mean, it'll save a lot of taxpayers' money if they do actually use it, hopefully in a good way. And if they don't want a ballot, they can just say, please don't mail me a ballot. Or if they do want one and they're not on the list, they can request it. There's so many easy ways to vote that there is no excuse not to vote. So we've been targeting the independents, and hopefully we can get a bigger turnout. Now, this primary looks to be pretty interesting, so I'm hoping that all the passion will bring out the crowds and people will participate.
Right.
It's their money.
Yeah, definitely a lot of
choice.
passion out there.
And I think we can safely say, like, no matter who you vote for, if you don't vote, if you sit on your hands, then you maybe don't have a right to complain if the person you don't want wins, right?
Correct. Well, one of the things that I've always said, one phrase is, if you don't vote, then somebody else will vote for you. Because those few voters may vote against the person or the policy that you're against.
Yeah.
So somebody else will decide for you if you don't vote.
We have about like 3 minutes left, but is there anything else you want our listeners to know, the public to know about the Recorder's Office?
Yes. We have not talked about the other side, which is the recording side.
Okay.
And we have the program for fraud alert for your property, your title. You could also go onto the Recorder's page there. And if you have a property or properties, please enroll in this program, and it'll help. It won't prevent, but it'll help, and you'll get a notification if something changes in your title. Everybody always focuses on the election part, but the recording part is also very important because the title fraud was mostly happening in big cities, but now it's in Yuma.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now it's in Yuma. If you own a property or several properties, sign up for this. You'll be notified if there's a change in your title, and it's a way to protect yourself. So that is very important.
So then after this, do you want to run for any other offices? You want to stay here? Do you like it? Any future aspirations?
I've only been there this is my first term, so
I know.
at least let me finish my first.
I'm just asking.
I know.
The people want to know.
No. Honestly, I like being the recorder.
Okay.
I will run for re-election. I don't have any other ideas for any other position because I really enjoy where I'm at.
Wow.
I think, honestly, I was made for this position.
Really? Well, I guess from childhood, like you said, like there was like this, angst against it. You didn't want to because of certain things, but now you're in it. And we were talking off air. You figured calm and the way to get your point across is in coming together. And now you say you're fit for this.
I'm fit for it because one thing is, and you know this, Johnny, it's the voter integrity. So that's and I want to give people the assurance that as long as I'm there, what happens in my office, the votes are squeaky clean, squeaky clean. And then I like it. I think I was made for this, and I think that I believe I'm the first recorder that's publicly out there showing my face and talking, because there is a lot of scrutiny and a lot of people get very upset at elections officials and the recorder, and some people can't take the heat.
Yeah,
but
no.
I'll take it.
Yeah, so, okay, I know you don't have a sign up, and this is the time we let people know a little bit about if they want to visit stuff, but so where's this store with no sign at?
It's on 2nd Avenue in San Luis, Arizona, right across the street from the DES office.
Right across the street from there, and no sign, but you've been in business for some time now.
And the first employee that we've had is still with me.
Yeah.
So for the Recorder's Office, website or social media you want to share, how people can get more information?
Sure thing. Let me see here. So the number is 928-373-6034. And for email, it's voterservices@yumacountyaz.gov. And also Arizona Dashboard. That's the Secretary of State. That's the state website. You can do everything on there also. And go to the office.
Great. All right. Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate you coming on and everything that you do for our community, man. I'm glad you're doing it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. And with that, What's Up Yuma Radio is a production of KAWC, Colorado River Public Media. We broadcast from the studios in the Matador Activity Center at Arizona Western College in Yuma. We want to thank our engineer, Talon Gonzalez, along with Anthony Ornelas, Juan Garcia, and Dave Reek.
You can find out more about KOFA at borderradioaz.org and on the KOFA app. Stay tuned for KOFA's Midday Music.
And on Monday's program, we have Nick Navarro from Apex Performance.
You can listen to the podcast version of our program and check out past episodes anytime at kawc.org/podcast/What's Up Yuma Radio.
And if you want to come on this show, make sure you go to whatsupyuma.biz. Once again, that's whatsupyuma.biz. You click that radio link and you can click book me. We also have events on there now. So if you want to check out some cool events going on, you want to do something this weekend, you can find that there as well as some news stories. You never know what's going to be popping up there. Thank you guys for listening. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And me and Victor, what are we doing tonight?
Tap Takeover, 7 p.m. at Pint House.
All right. You guys have a great weekend. We will see you on Monday.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by Citrine Law, LLC, a Yuma law firm practicing criminal defense, DUI defense, and personal injury law. Information is at citrinelaw.com.
You are tuned into KOFA Yuma Border Radio.